When you think about a life of international travel, you're probably picturing places like London, Paris, maybe Hong Kong, right? Well, for missionaries like Dr. Philip Eister, the reality is a little different. Today, we're going to dive into the stories behind what they sarcastically call the glamorous life. Welcome to the glamorous life. So, this is the unofficial slogan, kind of the inside joke missionaries have with each other. It's what they say when they're stuck in the most bizarre, uncomfortable, or just plain miserable situation you can imagine. It's their way of saying, yep, this is definitely not what you see on the postcards. And this slide pretty much sums it up. That dream of seeing the world gets real fast. It's less about historical landmarks and a whole lot more about huts, the back of a pickup truck, mud, and, well, things you'd rather not step in.
All right, let me paint a picture for you with a real story. Dr. Eister and a friend are in the Philippines. Their host puts them up in a room with cinder block walls that basically soak up the sun all day and then radiate that heat back at them all night. We're talking 130 degrees Fahrenheit. They can't sleep, they can't eat, and they are getting dangerously dehydrated.
But here's where it gets complicated. They know they need to leave, find an air-conditioned hotel, and just recover. But when they try to explain this to their hosts, the family just starts weeping, begging them not to go. His friend just turns to him and says, "How do you stand up to a crying grandmother? You can't." They were basically hostages of kindness.
So, in a final attempt to just appease these wonderful, caring people, the wife asks them to please just pick anything from the pantry that they might be able to eat. Dr. Eister, feeling incredibly nauseous, scans the shelves, and his eyes land on the one thing that looks familiar, the least offensive option he can see: a can of Del Monte creamed corn. Simple, safe. What could go wrong?
And here's the punchline. A few minutes later, the wife comes back into the room, beaming with pride, so happy to serve them. 2 tall glasses of creamed corn, poured over ice, as a drink. They were just speechless. It's this perfect, hilarious moment where good intentions get completely lost in translation. This is the glamorous life. Which brings us to this thing we could call the hospitality paradox. It's this pattern where people with the absolute best intentions end up creating these incredibly awkward and, honestly, pretty funny situations. Okay, next story, we're in Ukraine, 1993. Dr. Eister and his friend are staying with this incredibly sweet elderly widow. The catch? They don't speak a lick of Ukrainian. She doesn't speak a word of English. Communication was basically just grunts, pointing, and a lot of wild hand gestures. Every single night, this woman would cook them a feast fit for an army. And of course, they couldn't finish it. So she'd get worried, thinking they hated her food. Which meant the next night, she'd try even harder to please them by making something different. And each night, the food got progressively weirder. By their last night, they were basically starving because the food had just become too strange to eat. It's almost midnight, and she brings them an English-Ukrainian dictionary, opened up to the food section. Desperate, they scan the page and point to the simplest, most universal thing they can find: eggs. So she looks at the word, confused, and just mutters, "Yeggs?" Then she puts on her coat and disappears into the night. 45 minutes go by. The door bursts open, and there she is, holding up a bag with 24 eggs of all different colors and sizes, just yelling triumphantly, "Yeggs!" She had clearly gone door to door, waking up her entire neighborhood at midnight just to find them some eggs. So you've got creamed corn cocktails, midnight egg hunts, sleeping in a sauna. It all begs a really important question. Why? Why would anyone choose to go through all of this? What's the point? Well, the answer is in a complete shift in thinking, a radical change in strategy that turns the old way of doing things completely on its head. The strategy is called field evangelism. And the whole idea is actually pretty simple. Instead of building something and spending a ton of effort trying to get people to come to you, you just go to them. You go to where they're already gathered. It flips the script from "come to us" to "we'll go to you." This chart lays it out perfectly. The old model, crusade evangelism, is all about making them come to you. It depends on ads, on people already knowing your name, and it asks them to cross all sorts of barriers just to show up. Field evangelism is the opposite. You go to them, which means you don't need name recognition, and you meet them right on their own turf. All those barriers, gone. And here is a perfect real-world test of this idea. In Kenya, the team set up a stage near a factory, hoping to catch the workers as they left for the day, and the result? A total flop. The workers just walked right on by. Only 17 people showed up. So, the next day, they made one simple change. They moved the stage into the workers' housing complex, and bam, thousands were listening from their balconies, and 300 people came right down to the stage. And get this, the distance between that total failure and that massive success was only 200 meters. That's it. That small distance shows the huge difference between asking people to come to you versus actually going to them. The impact was, as Dr. Eister says, infinite. So, what's it all for? What's the ultimate payoff for enduring all the hardship and for using this strategy? Well, this final story pretty much says it all. Okay, to get to this one village in the Philippines, a place no evangelist had ever been before, the team had to drive 4 hours deep into the jungle. Then they had to cross a raging river that was literally neck deep. After that, they hiked for 3 more hours in the dark. They finally stumbled into the village, exhausted, at 11 o'clock at night, to find all the villagers were just waiting for them. They shared their message, and something incredible happened. The entire village responded, every single person. Totally overwhelmed, the team crawled into a little nipa hut to get a few hours of sleep, smelling like what Dr. Eister calls a banana-smoked ham from the cooking fires underneath. So when they wake up at 5 in the morning, they climb down from the hut. They look over to the center of the village, to the exact spot where they had been preaching just a few hours earlier, and they saw something that absolutely was not there when they went to sleep. There was a church. A brand new church standing right there. The villagers had stayed up all night, working together in the dark, digging posts, and putting up a roof to build it themselves. They actually asked the missionaries to dedicate it for them before they left. That's the payoff. That moment, seeing that church that appeared overnight, became the blueprint for everything that came next. The whole idea crystallized. Don't just go to them and preach. Go to them, preach, and be ready to plant a church right then and there. And really, this all brings us back to one big, essential question, one that applies to so much more than just missionary work. In our businesses, our communities, our own relationships, what is the true, incredible power of simply meeting people where they are?